All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen as well. I forget. And this time, I won't have any of the windows get in the way either. Can you see the screen, Hudson? Yeah? Nice. Okay, it is perfect. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Oh my God. All right. Nice. Okay. So, welcome everyone to week 3 of this quarter. This is Ludonarrative Dissonance, where play and story create disparity. So today we'll be focusing on a pretty unique concept in terms of game storytelling that is mostly focused around, of course, the separation of the game and the narrative to the player. So we'll go ahead and get started now. I'm gonna go ahead and showcase. All right, whoops, give me a second. Go ahead and showcase the QR codes as well. So on the left is going to be your raffle attendance form. So you go ahead and mark yourself as present for week 3 writing. And then on the right, of course, is going to be the workshop archive. These slides have not been posted to that yet. They will be posted after this workshop. So you can go ahead and get yourself marked for that. And we'll go ahead and get started once everyone is settled. Also, Alex, this is a good trick. Thank you for the recommendation. It's just water. It's just water. It's just that I forgot to get a water bottle before I started the presentation. Oh, wait. Listen, just because it's clear and just because it doesn't smell like anything doesn't mean that it's fun.
That's true.
It could be. I could be.
I feel like vinegar would smell like something.
It would.
We probably know.
Yeah. Oh, we had the closet right there. It's full of like event stuff.
What is that large bottle that popped the cabinet for?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't know when we've ever used those, so I'm a little bit concerned why we have that. But it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and move on to the table of contents. For this workshop, I feel like we're gonna be going by a little bit quickly. We're gonna be covering what the term ludonarrative dissonance really means. Then we'll go over some pretty relevant examples of what that's like in like some like more well-known games. We'll also be covering why it matters for the player experience. We won't be going too much in depth about that because for number 4, it'll be giving you the general gist of what that's going to be like with the activity. I made it very vague on purpose, so you guys will be looking like you guys will be like surprised by what's going to be happening. But yeah, so defining ludonarrative dissonance. So if we just take a moment to look at the Latin roots of ludonarrative, we get the 2 different words of ludo, which is the prefix meaning relating to games. It's more like of the relationship to the act of like play or something. But I feel like just shortening it down for the sake of like game design, it just serves like that purpose. Like it just means relating to games. Narrative, on the other hand, is it's not okay. So it derives from from the word narratif in Middle French. Middle French is like the Middle Ages version of the French language. So I apologize for the French jump scare warning. I should have put that like the trigger warning. I'm so sorry, guys. If you really are afraid or scared of or hate the French, narrative is actually a derivative of that. But if we look at the Latin root of narrative, which is narrare, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm really bad at Latin. You can correct me, and then I'll go ahead and say that you're wrong because I'm always right. But yeah, narrative derives from the meaning of the ability to tell. So in this case, it would be telling a story, telling like more of like your like history as well. So if you combine those 2 meanings with the meaning of dissonance, which is the lack of harmony, you'll see that this concept basically focuses on the lack of harmony between the game and its ability to tell its story to the player. The term was actually coined by Clint Hawking. He was a screenwriter and level designer for Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. He ended up getting the position more as a last minute kind of thing, but I think at the end it really helped with him realizing the concept when he went ahead and analyzed the narrative of Bioshock and its disparity between the protagonist's motivations and gameplay and in plot. Sorry, give me a second. Oh my God, my throat. Jesus. Oh my God. But this is what he had to say when he was talking about Bioshock. Yet in the game's fiction, on the other hand, I do not have that freedom to choose between helping Atlas or not. Under the Ludic contract, oh my God, I cannot be speaking all this. Give me a second. Oh, yeah, I have like already a bunch of water. I like got something like last on like the weekend.
It's time for some nice orange juice.
I would really like some orange juice right now. Oh my God. Get the scurvy away.
Oh my hell.
I appreciate that. Okay, so if I accept to adopt an objectivist approach, I can harvest little sisters. If I reject that approach, I can rescue them. If I reject an objectivist approach, I can help Atlas and oppose Ryan. And if I choose to adopt an objectivist approach, well, too bad. I can stop playing the game, but that's about it. So what he was basically referring to is that in the game, you're given a choice to either harvest or rescue the power source of the entities called the Little Sisters. They basically harbor a lot of like this like DNA kind of like substance that lets you like have like superhuman powers. So basically the entire narrative is revolving around you like rescuing them instead. Like you have the choice, obviously, but the whole purpose of the game to get like to like the ending involves you having to rescue them in the first place. So it's like they give you a false sense of like choice where it's like, oh, I can harvest more Atom, that's the resource that I was talking about, more Atom off of the Little Sister so I could get more superpowers, but I'm not going to be able to complete the narrative of the game because it's just going to railroad me to if I had rescued them all anyway. Because throughout the whole narrative of the game, the player that you are playing as, he's basically told from the person that wants to rescue all the Little Sisters that they say, oh, I won't be able to influence your choice, but it would be nice if you could rescue the Little Sisters so that you can find out the reason why you're stuck on this on the island or the underwater city of Rapture. But the entire time that you're playing through the game, it's like, okay, well, I told you to not harvest them, but you're going to go ahead and harvest them. I'm just going to tell you to go over here and just complete the story as if you already rescued them. So there's no real point in doing either one of them. And it feels so jarring if you do decide to harvest them because it's as if you're already rescuing them in a way. And there's basically no sort of difference in the character doing that because they're like, okay, well, I'm still a hero at the end of the day, even though I murdered a bunch of children. But yeah, that's not me. Yeah.
So is it like the players are allowed to reject?
The players are allowed to reject the narrative and give themselves like a false sense of like individuality. But in the end of the day, you're basically just playing through the same game as anyone that decides to rescue.
Right, because
nothing actually changes. And it's so jarring because of that. Yeah. So again, I feel like I want to like at least give a benefit of the doubt. I feel like Bioshock introducing the harvest rescue like mechanic is very integral to a lot of like FPS shooters of its era because a lot of them were not like very narrative heavy at the time. Like they were just your basic like Call of Duty. Your basic Call of Duty, your basic like just general military shooter. So having this choice in the first place was the whole reason why we got more complex narratives from a lot more game genres in the first place, but especially FPS shooters. So even though it wasn't the greatest when it at its narrative, it was definitely a the foundation for a lot greater, more complex narratives to come. Just like I said, Bioshock is a pretty good example of this narrative or narrative dissonance happening. But I also would like to talk about a little bit about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, where a lot of the game is focused about well, I would say Last of Us 2 is a lot more focused about like redemption, but especially learning to embrace embrace like more forgiveness and like dealing with like guilt. But of course, throughout the entire game, you're murking a lot of like random people that of course they're trying like they're out trying to get you, but a lot of it is because of their survival or because of like their like willingness to defend something that they know that they'd be like helpless if they weren't like fighting for this group. Sometimes there are instances where um they'll actually surrender if you like show enough like violence towards their group, and they'll just like they won't be able to like fight you anymore. And of course you have the choice to just let them go. But there's a mechanic, I'm pretty sure, in the game where if you are too forgiving and you let Ellie, if you let too many survivors like surrender, they'll actually turn on your like your forgiveness for them and start attacking you and use that as a way to motivate the player to just be like on their toes, like be like more aware. Like they're supposed to be like, oh, you know, you can't trust everyone in this like post-apocalyptic world. You know, you always gotta like have a little bit of suspicion inside you. But like, if you're gonna go out of your way to be like kind in the game, why are you being punished? Like the whole point of the narrative is um to embrace less of a violent mindset. But the game is telling you, hey, don't be too forgiving because they might stab you in the back, and now it's okay to kill them. So you kill all people that surrender because you don't know if they're gonna attack you back, and they're the bad guys because so you kill all the bad guys even if they surrender. So again, you want to at least be clear from the very beginning, like is this like the right choice to make if your narrative is um, supposed to be the opposite of what the mechanics are incentivizing you to do. Another thing I also want to talk about is a lot of this isn't made clear, but a lot of open world games also have this issue where if they're very like narrative heavy, and they have like a clear like if they have like a clear set of goals for you to do that are like told by you like by like the all the NPCs that you have gone through, because it's an open world game and because you're given a lot of choice, you get instances like this where you can just do whatever you want, and it's like it feels like it's out of character, but because it's all like implemented in the game that you can like do stuff like this, then it's just like, oh well, is Link like this silly guy, but like he's like taking on like a serious job, or like are these all like non-canon? Like is everything that you're doing that isn't related to the main plot of the game all non-canon? Sorry, give me a moment.
Would it just be like filler?
That's a good question, actually. Oh my god, that's a good question, actually. Yeah. So, a lot of like the like a lot of the like open world games like that you're like when you're running around collecting resources, like it's hard to really say if you need to consider all of like every single player's actions as filler, because like you have cases like this where like you're talking to Paya, she's just like commenting on the fact that you have no clothes on, like like is that really appropriate to call it filler? Because then that would imply that that was something that Link had done during the game. Like he has like canonically taken off all his clothes to just talk to random NPCs. Don't you find that a little strange? That even though you have been given the function to do so, that like it's so out of character for him, but he can still do it. Like you gotta like keep in mind, like of course, like it's you can also like undermine the entire argument of why ludonarrative dissonance is not really something to consider. Is just like, well, the player like is just using like the mechanics to their disposal, and of course they're gonna get a lot more use out of that. But that's something that I also want to like focus more on with just a little like snippet of Splinter Cell as well, which I mentioned was the game that sorry, I forgot his name really quickly. I need it. I'm sorry. Oh no, not Sam Fisher. No, no. I'm talking about Clint Hawking, the game that Clint Hawking had worked on. Wait, actually, I need to make sure that you can you hear this? By the way, Hudson, if you can like hear anything on your end, the audio. Actually, audio isn't too important. No. Okay, it's fine, but I feel like the audio is not too important, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this on your guys' end. It'll also be mute as well. I'm just gonna let it play for a little bit. It's gonna be desync, but it's fine. It's like that. But so you can see, Sam Fisher's like got a code to like break into this room, so you can move on to the next area. But then along the way, you'll see what the player does.
Wow.
Yeah, I know they're pretty bad at this game, but yeah, that's it. That's just a little bit of the tidbit that I wanted to talk about. So it's just little moments like those. Like, do you argue that like because the programmers allowed you to go ahead and grab the basketball and throw it and like put a hoop there for specifically that reason, is it like appropriate to say that that isn't ludonarrative dissonance because of the fact that mechanically that exists, and so Sam Fisher would have gone out of their way to do that while they were on a super secret mission? Well, I feel like it really comes down to like your personal opinion. Me personally, I feel like because it's such a small little tidbit, it would most likely be reasonable that this isn't like too dissonant for the player to do. It's like a fun little activity that both the player and Sam Fisher would probably do, because if the opportunity is there, I would probably do the same thing as well. I would probably do the same thing as well. So just keep in mind, like little moments like that is nice. Of course, don't make it to the extent of like what I explained with The Last of Us 2, where you have a very clear and defined like message behind its narrative, and the gameplay just kind of goes against it. So of course there's like a whole spectrum of why that's like important to talk. But so I wanted to go over really quickly why this matters, why ludonarrative dissonance matters for player experience. So for the pros, just wanted to say, of course, as you've seen, it's nice. It encourages a lot of silly emergent gameplay. You get moments in like open world games where, of course, you give players all these tools, and of course, they're gonna make the most out of using those tools, out of using camera mode, out of like posing Link in like dangerous and perilous situations. It also rewards players with unique character and environment interactions. If you consider that in a narrative design process, like morality systems, the fact that they exist is already enough justification for players to do whatever they want and not feel guilty about straying away from the narrative, because it is built into the narrative. You have cases where if the player decides to be a manipulative, conniving dictator, they can go ahead and do so knowing that there is a reason why this character is doing that in the first place, because you have built that into the game as like the primary like goal for the player. You can make them evil if you want, or you can make them like really good, or but it also can force the player to feel like certain emotions for going off track. So this one is a little bit more indirect. I feel like if you just write your narrative as is and Really make it so that the player has to sympathize with your protagonist or whatever characters are going through like certain like very emotional kind of plot point. That might just be enough for players to realize, oh wait, I'm kind of being an asshole here. Like my gameplay style is just not matching what's happening, and I feel bad. So it can kind of put them back on track. It really depends on how well you can really execute moments like those where the player like has sympathy for what's going on in the narrative. It's a little bit more difficult though, if you don't have like morality systems in place to make sure that they can veer back into like the narrative that you want them to. But of course, that comes with some pretty obvious and glaring flaws. So first off, players are going to be like disinterested, unwilling to continue playing because of those tonal clashes. Like, sure, you could try to include a lot of emotional moments to make sure that the player can go back into that feeling of experiencing what the protagonist is going through. But more often than not, if the players just want to do their own thing and they're like playing through the narrative, they're like, man, I really don't care about all of the troubles, all of the blights that like all these NPCs are going through. Like, I just want to do my own thing. I just want to blow stuff up. Like, I don't care. And so like they just stop playing because they just have like a very bizarre moral compass. But more often than not, you want to make sure that that your narrative at least takes into consideration the very strange playstyles of some certain people. Um, it also undermines any nuance behind the game's message. Like I said, um, Last of Us 2 and Bioshock, they kind of have that going on as well. So you want to take that into consideration. Also, it's pretty bad because if you're not able to resonate with the story, it goes against like the primary purpose of storytelling in general, right? We are using storytelling as a way for people to really resonate with your experiences. A lot of the times, storytelling is just a way for people to feel united against like a certain like experience that they might have had. Like you could use storytelling to talk about grief. You could use storytelling to talk about like friendship. Like a lot like of very human experiences get put into like a lot of like narratives and stuff like that. So if you aren't able to do that with your game, if your mechanics are explicitly allowing you to go against what the story is about, then it becomes really difficult to really connect with the story in the first place. And that's why I think that that if you are writing your like game's narrative in the first place, you want to make sure that you take your game's mechanics first and foremost into consideration. Because if you don't, then you're probably going to get a lot of tonal clashes, and that can really dissuade players from even wanting to engage with the narrative in the first place. They'll probably still continue playing the game if it's like just really well made, but in for the narrative especially, they're probably just gonna look at it as like a secondhand kind of thing. They'll just think it's like more of a waste of time, and that's something that is not a waste of time, but it really hurts to know that that's how they think of it if if it's just like too big of a tonal clash. So you really got to balance out how you want to incorporate ludonarrative dissonance, or if you don't want to incorporate it, how to like really mitigate that as much as possible. Which is why your good old fashioned activity time is going to take that into consideration. So you are a mystical rabbit Pokemon. So in case you guys don't know, Pokemon is like a whole workshop design based collab with a bunch of different like departments as well. But yeah, so you are a mystical rabbit Pokemon. You are traveling the world in search of a magical plant that will cure your Pokemon friend's illness. Along the way, you encounter a small yet bustling forested town, perfect to gather questions from the locals. So what you want to do is like I've given out some paper over there, but what you want to do for the rest of the workshop time is you want to describe their personality. Like, are they like a very rambunctious kind of rabbit, or are they like very timid but very mindful of actions? Um, like what are they like basically? Just get a general feeling of what this little rabbits like. Then you want to just create your basic flow of the Pokemon's arc in this town. Like, who are they going to talk to first? What kind of locals are they going to meet? What are they going to do in the town? Are they going to like meet new people? Or are they going to stay away from them? Are they trying to like stay undercover? Or are they trying to be like as open, as friendly as possible? You know? So you can get as in depth as you want, or you can just be very basic with like, oh, they go to the tavern, they talk to some the bartender, they get directions, and then they leave. You know, like so you can just be as basic as that. But the whole purpose of this is I'm going to be going around reading all of those like plots, and I'm going to be pretending to be like one of those players. I'll be like adopting a couple of different like personalities. Um, so I'll be going over like maybe to a couple of you guys and be like, oh yeah, I'm a very like straightforward player. Like I just really want to know what the story's like. Or I could be someone that's just like, yeah, I'm actually here so I could like do a lot of like Pokemon battles. I just want to fight the locals already. I just want to like get my experience in. Like where do I go? Like do I start a bar fight, you know? Something like that. So you're gonna go ahead and write the personality. That'll give you guys enough time to like really figure out how this rabbit's gonna go ahead and interact with the locals or just with the town in general. Do they go to a museum? Do they go to like a library? So yeah, we'll go ahead and you guys until let's say it's 1:33 right now. So if you guys would like, I'll go around the table. And for you, Hudson, if you are doing this activity, you can send this over in the writing channel on Discord, on the VGDC Discord. And I'll go ahead and read out that story and just pretend to be that player and just act it out right here. But yeah, I'll give you guys until like 1:45, and then I'll be coming around and being that player. So yeah. What's up? Yes. Yes, that is the purpose of this. Everyone is a Pokemon in this scenario, which means, you know, combat is a thing. And because combat is a thing, you know, you just got to take that into. I'm just saying, combat is a thing here. And since everyone is a Pokemon, I'm just saying, I'm not. It's a fact. It's well, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's possible, but I'm not suggesting that. I'll be right back.
I guess it could be like an undertone of the start.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to move this a little bit like this. I hope that's not like affecting the camera too much. I can't really tell. Um, Let me give you a little bit more room. Sorry about that. Just put the with a laptop. Actually, I'm gonna unplug this. It should be fine. It's gonna be a little bit of a stuffed recording, but it should be fine. Hopefully. To mention, capturing is not a thing. You are not allowed to do that. Everyone is a booking. They're not a trainer. There's no trainers in this world. No trainer booking.
I mean, seriously, if like a really smart Pokemon figured out.
Oh,
Was that actually
yeah, this they basically.
Why not?
Yeah, yeah. It's just only Pokemon.
If we can understand.
Well, when you put let's put it this way. So in this world, the Pokemon are like the main residents of like the Pokemon world in this scenario, right? So if we talk about capturing as a thing, right? That's like Pokemon capturing. Right? So if you replace the Pokemon with humans, so we'll be talking about human trafficking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why capturing is not allowed.
Why?
What do you mean why? You gotta think about it. Like, hello.
This game would be rated M.
This game would be rated M if that was allowed. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, rated M.
That yeah. We going around in like 6-ish minutes. So just keep that in mind. It's like mystery dungeon, but you're allowed to enact violence to the locals.
So like mystery dungeon.
Yeah, like mystery.
Wait a minute. No, you're taking our food.
No, I'm not taking it. I'm promoting it.
Yeah. Oh,
It's free. He's paying for his food.
Yes.
Isn't it worth everyone? Yeah, you actually gave me your full right to that. Yeah, can
Oh, really?
When you put
tell Cole to reimburse us for you using our.
Wait, so he's paying you guys though? That's how that works.
No, he's taking it from your budget.
Oh. How much is this? Like $1?
It's like 2 cents per minute.
Yeah, it's like
two per minute.
Every time it's on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, in that case,
No.
He's so cute.
it's a little rabbit. It's a little rabbit that might be bit feral.
Is it steam powered or is it carrying a full price?
It's rabies.
It's probably.
It's taking out the back food.
Yeah, that's like a genocide.
Yeah, oh yeah, go ahead. Fire berry. Fire berry. That's its typing. It's supposed to be based off of a fermented sap drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not rabies.
it's not rabies sadly.
The reason I said rabies is because you said feral. That
Yeah,
was like-
yeah, it looks like yeah.
I can see it though.
Maybe regional bear.
Yeah.
It's a-
Yeah, it is in the
Of,
genotype.
wait, of what region? Like America, like Unova?
America.
Probably you know what this is.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. America.
Is there an American?
Yeah, Unova.
That's you though.
Yeah,
Well, it's
fine.
New York. That's why the protagonist was.
Oh, yeah.
So low enough to go.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit.
Oh, I don't.
Aldea to Spain. Bye-bye. Aldea to, oh, it's more like Spain and Portugal. But yeah, then, Galar is British.
I remember someone made like a holding platform. For like.
Oh, yeah, the whole,
Yeah, the whole like.
isn't there like official for that too, or is that?
Not sure.
There's no way they would have like not as many ice types.
It's just.
It's
It's
just.
just ice type.
That is. Sometimes you see a normal size.
Like legendary.
That's Articuno.
Make a bear.
It's just Articuno, but again.
No, it's gotta be chunky.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, that's the Russia bear one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Think. I'm kind of tempted to just go ahead and start walking around. So if you guys are like already like a little ready to show what you guys have, then I'll go ahead and like pretend to be the player. Go ahead and just let me know if you guys want to get your game play tested. Almost there.
I think no, you should pick up like a unused keyboard, stand and take that one.
Okay, yeah. That's true. Do we have an unused keyboard?
That
Do we have a keyboard that's like not plugged in already? That would. Oh wait. This is the mouse. Oh, that's the keyboard. Okay. All right. Okay. So we said that they were ready. Okay. Let's go. Still out. The art, yeah. And yeah, Charles. So in this situation, because like I'm engaging with the so I'm going like I'm not playing this game like because I'm like used to the fact that this like character's shown to be like short tempered. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna fight everything I see. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like spam the fight and like I'm going ahead and like trying to walk up to them. I'm just spamming like the enter key to skip through all the dialogue until I see like the two choices. I'm just gonna go ahead and start the fight already. And I'm spamming like all the super effective things. And I'm like, okay, well, if I don't, like, if they're giving me, like, all this black or knowledge, like, that means I really want to. It's kind of like reverse psychology. Because I'm thinking, like, if the rabbit wants to, like, engage in politics, because you're short tempered, they want to engage in all these fights. So I want to be, like, making sure that I get into every single fight so I can understand why I'm so. Like my experience for playing this game that I have is from like God of War, a lot more like a lot more games that are like focused around like very like angry like characters, very like characters that I'm not talking about like the new God of War and stuff like that. I'm talking about the old ones where they like the only context that I got from the game was the guy is angry and wants to kill God. So I'm playing it like this as if like I don't even know about the game. For sure, I'm fighting all the employees. For sure, I'm going to all these buildings, like they said, and fighting all the employees. It doesn't matter if they don't want to fight for me. I want to make sure that I go through. Yeah, go ahead. All right, hold on. Yeah, okay, go ahead and go ahead and check that out. All right. All right.
The main thing is.
Okay, so very big. I just want to get rid of it. The information right now. If you go up to the active direction, full time going down. Okay, so in this case, I'm a player that's more focused about wanting to like take things a little bit slow and peaceful. I want to avoid fight like altogether. I don't want to be passive. Got it. So the whole 180. So in this case, I just want to like figure out how to fight.
Okay, so do you want to talk to them?
Yeah, I just want to talk to them.
So when you talk to them listening now, and if you pick the right option,
Yeah.
the book you're actually open explain the town situation.
Yeah.
And like it gets you into the side quest basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, at any point, you can just leave because your entire goal is to just get to.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, so I leave.
Yeah, you can just leave. That's it. But you'll skip this entire narrative.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah,
I said I wanted to.
the entire narrative is to just the entire narrative is
Yeah.
to just get directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I leave.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like I said, like I want to play this game to find out more about me. I don't care about this. So
Exactly.
I just want to. I want to be a pacifist all the way through. But I got things to do. You know, I got like, work. I got other things. Like I'm too busy right now. I don't really care about the rest of the game. I just want to know. I just want to get my quick fix in. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just forget all of the other like interesting like character bits. I got my directions. I'm ready to just beat this game.
I think it's really interesting because minimize reading narrative. The best way is to just account for any of the choices that the player made and like make them canon. So like so basically I said that if you fight them, they just won't do this. They literally kill them. Because everyone in the town is different. Well, the house, like the host is also like you can feel this tone. If you talk to other people, they will also have the same kind of projected tone. So you know something's up, or you can just leave.
Yeah.
Because that's your goal.
So the entire time I'm playing through the game, and I have not even
Yeah,
figured
no
out
idea.
why it's so like. I can play through the whole game and just feel like, oh, that was like the least interesting game I've ever played.
Well, no, I hope this is like a side story, not the actual story.
Oh no, yeah.
But like this is the kind of direction.
Yeah. But man, just like things like that, it's just like you just miss out on so much like, interesting content just because you like it's all vague. You just
Right.
Like, you don't let the player like players that are interested in the narrative but just want to get things over with. They just miss out on a lot more like very interesting like that.
Yeah, and I think that's good because haters too. They just want to skip clearly.
Exactly. Yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to show up? All right.
You know, I do think that.
The cookie bar. I bet they're very sweet. They're a villager.
They're very tasty.
Oh, interesting. Okay. The villagers do know our urban speak, but it is only.
I like this. The friends, custom villagers, and the pity of a particular Pokemon. Okay.
Hold on, please. Mechanically, you must complete the dialogue chain with Choco Cake. You also once lost a beard on YouTube and the mini fetch quests for the other team. Should you do so, Choco Cake takes you to the herb of the herb and allows you to trigger and move forward. So in this scenario, I'm someone that is a completionist. I just want to get all the achievements. So my first thought process is, okay, I go to the village and I talk to Choco Cake, and since they're saying that I have to complete this mini fetch quest, I do so, but very reluctant, or not reluctantly, but I'm very dismissive of the entire game, because I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this all again. I've already played through this so many times. I just don't want to do the fetch quest. There are other options too, which is why I do every single one in multiple ones. Not at the same time, but all consecutively. And that's why it's just they go through the game with a mindset of oh, I just want to get this I just want to complete all of the all the story beats and just make sure that I can get all of those out of the way. I'll find out, yeah. I just want to follow through all the mini fetch quests, but I'm just kind of reluctant in the middle. Too much more. Okay, because I'm only here to do yeah.
My idea was that I would hopefully incentivize the player to maybe attempt to keep them to do better. And so I made
Nice. Nice.
Well, the question is, why does cannibalism but not
Because you're eating Pokemon.
That's bad. I mean, they're all it's
all
like animals, right? Animals eat animals.
Yeah, but why
Another
does no
species
Pokemon
of
trafficking?
Pokemon.
Okay,
It's a Pokemon cannibalism.
that alone I think is
Yeah.
interesting enough
Yeah, exactly.
for completionists to be okay, I gotta tune into this story. Just absurd of a so that alone is already interesting. But again, the fetch quest, presenting fetch quest is already kind of it's like a gift. How interesting.
I was kind of putting those in there as I didn't know what I would do otherwise. So it was sort of filler that would immediately get with something better.
Yeah.
On the assumption that you have these alternative interaction methods, either fighting or eating them.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But it's really a tough kind of decision to make on how you can really get on unique details on it. I get what you mean. Anyone else wants to show off there?
I'm fine too.
Oh.
I gotta go.
Okay. I can go ahead and just I'll send a photo of this in the chat and then I'll just say my thoughts on it.
Alright.
You said you wanted to show some. Alright, I'll go ahead and read that. I'll see what I see. So right. Oh. Oh yeah. That's pretty much nearly the end of the workshop time. So I just want to say, oh, sorry. Let me go ahead and read this chat as well. Do you mind if I just, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and DM that. I'll go ahead and give my thoughts on it, but I just wanted to say, I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting now. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting now. We are almost reaching that time, and I'm pretty sure production has something in a little bit. Yeah. So Thank you for coming. I'll go ahead and read your story and get my thoughts on it. I appreciate it. You have a good one now. Thank you so much. And that should be